Fellow Canadian expat Marie McClellan joined us today for episode number 46 to discuss a variety of topics, including being an international school teacher, her passion for cooking, tattoos, unique fashion in Korea, and being married abroad to a Western teacher. The original recording was set back due to a random health scare that Marie encountered. We're happy to announce that she has now received treatment for her issue, and she's on the road to recovery. Good job, Marie. It was a pleasure sitting down with you to record. Thanks so much for making the trip all the way from the dark side to make it happen. Hope you guys enjoy. This episode is brought to you by Dr. English. It's summertime, and after the vaccine rollout, eventually, we're all going right back into travel season. This means the time to start brushing up on your English conversation skills is now. What are you waiting for? Dr. English is an all-in-one online English learning platform. The qualified native speakers can help you start your journey or progress on your journey to English fluency today. Enjoy learning from the comfort of your own home. For a free sample class, please call 010-4591-1496. Open your doors to endless opportunities. Take your English to the next level by visiting their website now at www.dr-english.com.
You are now tuned into This Korean Life with your hosts, Brian and Nate.
I watched this documentary. I was in a hotel, and I was sick of doom scrolling on my phone, and
Doom scrolling?
Doom scrolling.
I like that.
Facebook. Oh God, what's going on in the world? Doom scrolling.
Yeah.
So I wasn't in the mood to doom scroll, and I'm flicking through. It's Korean TV, and they landed on this documentary, and it was about this girl, this white girl who's Korean. Her parents passed away, and a Korean family adopted her. She's blonde. She's white.
Yeah.
But she is Korean.
Yeah.
People will come up to her and try and talk English to her, and she's like,
What?
They were doing a documentary about her, following her around, her mannerisms, her way, her giggle,
Absolutely,
her everything. She was completely a Korean girl, but she was white.
There's there's an African kid here too whose parents immigrated for work, and he was born here and has been put right through the system. He's like a famous model.
Yeah, okay. I know.
But I think it's the same thing where people
He's
go
not
up
a
and
soccer player.
No, he's a model.
There's a guy who's going to be playing for the World Cup team.
Yeah.
Who's Ghanaian.
But you look at him, you're like, oh, you're obviously ethnically not Korean, but everything, the way he eats, the way he talks to people and interacts, it's absolutely all Korean.
And just like all the little things, like the way she held herself,
and
like
Welcome to 2020 or 2021. Shit.
Yeah, so it was
skipped
really
last year.
interesting.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right, let's roll her in. We'll have an official roll in. Welcome to another episode of This Korean Life. Today with us is all the way from Donggu, Mary McClellan. Welcome. I bumped into you there on I'll call it the dark side.
It's the beach side.
The beach side. I bumped into you there a couple months ago. Anyways, that was kind of in a lull in the pandemic, and I bumped into you at Burger Mugger, and we knew we had to have you on. What a great place! Is that you?
Oh my God, I do. I go there. I used to go when he was at his old location, because it was like right around the corner from my husband's school, and. So we'd go, but he had such limited hours. He was only open for lunch. But now he's got. I'm really happy for him.
Yeah,
like it's doing really well, and the food is so good.
We interviewed him too, and it's so funny. Nate pointed out like he went to Japan to study. No, he went to Japan to do something else, but ended up studying Japanese food, and then came here then went to the States and cooked sushi, and then came back here and he cooks hamburgers.
Yeah.
Quite a thing. But for me, that was the first time going in there, and it was the atmosphere was cool, man. It was a nice atmosphere.
Yeah, no, he's my Facebook friend, and whenever I go in, he always says like, when are you going to bring me some of your food? When are you going to bring me some of your food? So I showed up there one day with some carrot mango muffins with ginger frosting on them and gave them to him. And he was just really appreciative. He's like, you can sell these. I was like, yeah, but then I wouldn't want to make them anymore.
That's interesting. We used to make sausages for a market here. And once you do start selling it, it takes the kind of the fun out of it, like, oh, this is a job now. Shit, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But it was that's good.
He ran into some tough luck with the decline of the shipyard, and that was it. He just couldn't afford to be open all those hours. The shipyard used to make a lot of places run and don't go. A lot of places,
yeah.
And when you take that many guys out of the economy, especially who are guys who frequent Western food restaurants, probably 10 of the best restaurants in the city closed down. So I think it's just impressive that he's still open and that he was able to transition in between where, he could pick up some work. I think he was downtown at a Yakatoti or something place downtown, which still allowed him to be open at lunch, but he could still make a living downtown in the nighttime. And now he's back up and doing good. So
what's a Yakatoti?
It's Japanese restaurant, isn't it? Izakaya is like a drinking.
I never heard of
nighttime drinking. What is it?
I was looking at your Instagram, and I think one of the first times we interacted, you're like, "Why won't my bread rise? What's going on here?" You were using the wrong flour.
I was using the plain flour, not the
strong flour.
gang flour, but the
gangnam.
Yeah.
No, and you know what? I did that for probably close to a year before even considering, like, oh, maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe it's the wrong flour. But I screwed up bread forever. But anyways, I'm glad we connected on that. Anyways, what do you cook most often? Are you more into baking and cooking?
I cook dinner like every day. Like I'm much more into cooking than baking. The pandemic kind of brought me into baking a little bit more because we did have like that long coronacation and I just needed something to fill my time with, and I couldn't cook meals, so I started, I was cooking meals, but I was looking for something to do with my time, and I found I started the banana bread trend because Korea was on the corona before the rest of the world, and I did banana bread at like day 12 or something like that. And then you look at social media and when it hit kind of the US and Canada, and then at about day 12 everybody was doing banana bread. And I looked back at like my timestamps on my photos and I was like, I started that.
Oh man,
you have the visuals or the pictures on Facebook, Instagram are pretty impressive. You have a pretty diverse ability. Like the food you make is wild. It reminds me of my mom back in the day, but I don't think anybody cooks like that anymore. You make all this. If you just went to the restaurant and picked out something on the menu, that's what you made last night for dinner.
Yeah,
it's not just the typical 20 meals that people make at home, and they usually go out for these ones. Like you do all of them. Where does that come from?
It comes from living overseas since 2006 and not being able to get a lot of what I wanted to eat. So I had to learn to cook it. So like a lot of the early stuff I was learning to cook was like Western food, like meat and potatoes, meatloaf, and stuff from home, or just a good spaghetti, because I first moved to Korea in 2006, and
noodles and ketchup.
Yes, yes. Cortalian.
More sugar, please.
Well, yeah. So just learning how to cook the Western food that I wanted to cook, and then
those are the standard meals that I cook. But you make stuff that requires a lot more time that I don't have time for.
But see, okay. So the air fryer.
She's on team air fryer. That's why
I'm on team air fryer. But that so most recently that Vietnamese grilled pork that I made, let that marinate overnight with some lemongrass fish sauce, soy sauce, sugar, and then I just stuck it in the air fryer for 20 minutes, and I don't have to like grill pieces of pork. And so I just like a lot of my Stuff I do either in the air fryer or in the Instant Pot, which is an electric pressure cooker.
Yeah. So those are two big bonuses to have, I guess. But now when you say those ingredients, I think, okay, that's the other part. I don't have time to go out and I don't go out and get all those different ingredients to make one meal, and then I want to make it 2 months later and it's already gone bad. But living next to the foreign mart or one of the foreign marts is probably the next big clue, right?
Yeah, so near my school is Sweet Bay Mart, and near my home is Shalimar Mart. So that really helps. But also, I'm adept at using coupon, and I order food, and I've always made it a big part of like my monthly budget to spend on food.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a big go to the movies person. That's not something I like to do. I go out to the bars from time to time, but that's not something that I do. So like my entertainment budget is very much food and ingredients. And so it's like, well, yeah, this ingredient costs way more than it costs at home. And it's like, yeah, but I want to eat it.
Lemongrass, $6. No way.
I was going to say
one beer is $8. Oh, okay.
My 7-Eleven doesn't carry lemongrass, so that's my first problem. Right. If I was closer to one of those, I think like when I go in and I buy all the curry powders and stuff, and I go home and I got good meals for a week, and then I either run out or that stuff's gone bad or I can't use the coconut milk's done or whatever, and then I'm back to the basics. But yeah, I think
my paprika turned yellow too. My paprika powder. Remember that happened to you years ago?
Oh, that happened to mine too.
What the hell happened?
I was like, how is this cumin? I was paprika last month. What happened?
Yeah.
Is it still good? I threw it out.
It's not bad as in it's gonna hurt you, but it's stale and will impart no flavor.
Yeah,
like,
that's the
solid.
I never bought a tub of cumin before, but I asked my wife, did you change the paprika? This was paprika 100%, man. Yeah, I didn't know what happened.
You can tell too with the Italian sausages there. When you put that in, it gives it that nice dark red, but it was orange and like kind of yellowy for a while. I was like, what is this? Gotta change it up, keep it fresh.
What is your favorite kind of cuisine outside of stuff from Canada?
I well and truly love Korean food. A big part of what brought us back to Korea was we weren't super keen on the food in the other countries that we were living in. We liked it well enough, but like I like 90% of Korean food. There's a few dishes I don't like, but most Korean food I really like. And Indian food I like a lot, and Ethiopian food.
Oh, we used to go to an Ethiopian place when I was in Ghana, and it was fantastic. I used to love that stuff.
You should make the trek out to Daegu, and I will do a big Ethiopian feast.
Yeah?
I can even make the bread.
Ooh, what is Ethiopian food? I think I've asked that before. I don't know what.
So it's texturally beans and lentils. It's texturally a lot like Indian food, like kind of like stewed lentils, stewed beans, that kind of thing. But it's just a different flavor profile.
Cool.
Like instead of having like a garam masala as like as a base, you have a seasoning called beber. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And it's that seasoning is like the base for like a lot of things.
Cool. Do you cook Korean at home?
I cook especially now that I'm in Korea, I cook even less Korean because the ajumas can cook better than me.
Yeah.
So I go out to eat Korean, but when I have been living like elsewhere, like I make a pretty mean kimchi jjigae.
Yeah.
Do you make it how they make it, or do you put your own little East Coast spin on it?
Well, I make it in the pressure cooker, so it saves a lot of time. But I use websites like Korean Bapsang and Mangchi.
Yeah, she's got some
good Korean websites with good Korean recipes. So I do try to make it kind of taste how I remember it from.
Yeah, that's all right.
From Korea.
Nate likes to adapt everything to his flavor profile. Tell her about the pajan. 6 chicken breasts.
What?
I've never made pajan with 6 chicken. What are you talking about?
Don't you make pajan? No. I thought you made pajan with chicken breast.
Never made pajan with chicken breast. I don't make pajan. If I want an omelet, I make an omelet. I don't make pajan. No, but when I make miyeokguk or kimchi jjigae, I make it, and the only times I get in trouble is when my mother-in-law comes for dinner. My wife loves it, and we agree that we want extra garlic in the miakuk. So we put loads of garlic in. But mother-in-law comes and she's like, what the hell's this? I'm like, this is miakuk. You know that. Don't act stupid. But it's not her miakuk, so she's disappointed. But then I'm like, well, come on. I'm a foreign son-in-law making frickin' miakuk. Give me a break, man. And this is how your wife likes it, because this is how I cooked it after we had kids. And she didn't go to the Joriwan. So I made miakuk every day, and she loved it. And she showed me how to make it. And she said, just put extra garlic in because it's better. It's not my recipe. But she's disappointed that her daughter doesn't carry on the same recipe or something. When we make kimchi jjigae, we add whatever vegetables are in the fridge. If it's an extra, what's the hobak called here? It looks like a zucchini, but it's not.
A hobak?
The green one looks like a zucchini.
Yeah. I call it zucchini.
So do I, but it's not a real zucchini though. Whatever that thing is, we put some of that in there, and just anything. And you've had kimchi jjigaes with all different stuff. I just pick and choose. Yeah, hey, I've had some. Hey, the budae jjigae, a little ham, throw her in. Why not?
Mother-in-law just has a stroke. What is this?
This isn't spam. This is real ham. What the hell is this? So I just kind of, mix and match of all the places I've had in Korea. Korea used to be very, very straight and kind of fixed. Now it's diverse. I mean, you go to the gogi chibs, each one has their like special sauce. Yeah. But before it was like 3 sauces, everyone the same 3 sauces over the whole country. So now it's diversifying where you can try this fusion stuff. So now I just think I was ahead of the curve. I was fusion, I think, 15 years ago. These guys are just getting onto it now with their chicken sauces and everything. It used to be just like garlic, manogangjang. What? Why can't I remember these things?
Soy sauce, garlic.
Yeah, soy sauce and garlic or honey or something else. That was it.
Yeah.
That's always been Jeffy's big complaint. He's like, this Korean food. It's all red. It's never gonna evolve.
Yeah,
it's always the same.
Always
yeah, no, that was a big complaint I used to hear a lot, and I hear it a lot less now.
Yeah,
there's so much diversity now.
Yeah, there's a lot more things to eat.
But, yeah, if you're eating,
and I don't mean goguma pizza. I mean like the real foods there. They've really.
But if you're eating outside of kimbap jjanguk, then I'm sure there's you got some more colors.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, if you're eating at Kimbap Nara every day, which I did when I first moved here.
Sure. I thought about inventing when I'd go in there, I couldn't decide what to eat, and I thought about making like a 20-sided die that just chose for you. Just going to be like, oh, Jordan, oh, bokkeumbap. I don't know.
So my first sentence that I learned how to speak in Korean, because there was a Kimbap Nara right by my house. And I would get off work at my hagwon, and it would be the only thing that was open because I'm working late. And sometimes I wanted more of a Western meal, so of course I wanted donkas. But I found it would get soggy when they pour the sauce all over it, and I don't like the soggy breading. So the first Korean sentence I learned how to say was, donkasu sosudan dado chuseo.
Yeah. Nice.
That was make chuseo was the first thing I learned how to say, but
yeah, absolutely.
What is your go-to Korean? If you're going out for something Korean, what are you craving? What do you usually go for? What do you like?
Oh, gee, probably like samgyeopsal.
Yeah. Hard to beat.
Yeah, hard to beat samgyeopsal. And I don't like galbi as much as I like samgyeopsal. Like I do like the plain, like just the plain meat. Yeah, samgyeopsal would be.
There's so many, right? Like the kids always ask me, "What's your favorite food?" Or like, wow, if it's out with my buddies socializing, beers and samgyeopsal is awesome.
Yeah, or haejanguk. Although I do tell my kids that it's kamjatang. What's your favorite food? Kamjatang, because you don't want to tell your kids haejanguk.
Yeah, that's
I like hangover soup.
Yeah, the cleansing soup.
But I mean, it's the same thing without potatoes and in a personal dish. So.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely.
That was my question for about 10 years. What's the difference? Oh, this is the difference. And what's the difference between a jjigae and a guk? It's all soup.
I'm waiting for a punchline here.
it's all soup. What's the difference between haejanguk, kimchi jjigae? Well, then, okay, it's kind of like a stew and one's kind of more soupy. But yeah.
Yeah.
When, if you get off, last cooking question maybe, if you get off work late and you go home, you got to throw something together in 15-20 minutes. What is it, your quick dinner?
Delivery.
Yeah. All right, you're good.
If I only have 15, well, like I do keep a lot of kind of stuff in my freezer. Like I don't do like a lot of batch cooking, but I'll batch cook soups or something like that. Yeah. Or a batch of soup will be enough to feed for one dinner and then freeze one.
Yeah.
So like if I forgot to lay something out, then I can thaw a soup.
Yeah.
And I'll just have that.
You said your baking really ramped up during the pandemic. I think it was March. I ordered a 20-kilo bag of last March. 20-kilo bag of flour. I'm like, all right, let's go.
I inherited a 20-kilo bag. I think there was 10 kilos left in it. Because someone left pandemic time. They went home, and I inherited a whole bunch of baking supplies and like the 20-kilo bag of flour, and that got me through.
It's beautiful. What do you sift the flour before you do you get like one of those?
Nah.
I don't know if I'm creating extra work for myself or not, but I pour it in the little thing and then sifting. Is that what
it's called sifting? Yeah.
Anyways,
let's change direction. On first glance, probably one of the most colorful people in the country. Stylish, all kinds of different elements. You probably get lots of weird looks in Korea.
Oh yes.
Where does the style, the fashion, all this stuff come from? What's the inspiration?
I've always really liked experimenting with style and fashion. When I was a kid growing up, my parents wouldn't buy me the in clothes, and I was made fun of for my clothes like a fair bit. And just as I grew up, I kind of grew into that, and it was just kind of like, well, if I can't wear the in stuff, then I'm gonna wear the out stuff, and I'm just gonna roll with that.
Wearing your dad's ties to school.
Yeah, wearing my dad's ties to school, wearing stuff from the used clothing store, just whatever kind of made me sort of happy. And I really love color. I mean, I went through, I'm still kind of goth in my heart. You couldn't tell it from my clothes, but I went through a totally kind of black clothing phase, but it was a black clothing phase that always had like a pop of neon pink on it. Nice. Or something like that. Like I was kind of like a rainbow goth or whatever. I had like rainbow colored hair, but the whole rest of me was all dressed in black. And
black clothes matter.
Yeah. I just love dressing up. And I went through a period after my mom passed away that I couldn't be bothered. And I was just wearing jeans and t-shirts. And I knew I was at a certain point in my healing and my grieving process and just where I was with getting back to me and finding myself when my wardrobe kind of blew up again. Nice. And cool. So it's kind of a little barometer for myself. Like if I find myself just wearing like gray t-shirts and jeans, then it's down day.
What kind of comments, what kind of questions do you get from either students or adults or Koreans in general?
I get a lot of...
Ulsan's pretty conservative.
Ulsan's pretty conservative.
I mean, if you were in Itaewon, you wouldn't even get an extra look.
No. I don't notice people looking at me that much. I'm pretty oblivious to it. My husband notices it a lot more. He's like, they're staring at you. And I was like, huh? What? But I get a lot of like older Korean women, like proper ajumas, coming up and like taking a look at me and then reaching over and like touching my shirt and being like, 예쁘다. And I'm like, thank you.
Well, isn't it weird? Like outside of black and blonde, which are the only two colors you predominantly see in young Korean women, I mean, I think the next group is either businessmen whose wives do a bad job dyeing their hair and ends up orange, or 50, 60-year-old ladies who have purple hair and green hair and blue hair. I'm like,
I'm
what
on
happened
team Ajuma hair. Like,
what happened to her, man?
My mother-in-law's got purple hair sometimes. She shows up.
And I don't mean like burgundy purple. I mean like bright
purple.
Yeah. And I'm like, you just found yourself at 68? Like, wow, were you hiding for this many? I feel so bad for them that they could finally...
Got to match the hiking gear.
Express themselves.
Yeah, no. But also, like, I don't know if this is still the case, but I remember when I was teaching in public school, you weren't allowed... Once you hit middle school, you weren't allowed to dye or perm your hair.
Oh, right. Here, yeah.
Yeah, and if your hair was naturally not Korean black... you had to have that printed on your school ID, because otherwise
Other kids want to change their hair.
well, otherwise you get hauled into the principal's office being like, you dyed your hair, and you're like, no, I was born this way. So like, if your hair was naturally a variant, that was like on your school ID so that you wouldn't get in trouble.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And that was also when they weren't allowed to wear makeup or anything else. It was 10 centimeters
Oh, they had to cut that. I remember.
Yeah, that
below
girls
the
cut their
ears,
hair.
and boys were like, couldn't touch your eyebrows with the bangs, and it was so. And I thought, wow, Korea's like in the Stone Age, and it's never going to change. And then all of a sudden, poof, it's not lipstick anymore. It's what? Lip balm or essence or
Lip
something,
gloss.
some lip gloss. And it's brighter than lipstick, but it's not lipstick, it's lip gloss.
Yeah.
And you know that now they could tell the prince, no, I have chapped lips, so this is fluorescent pink lip gloss. And then it was okay. And then all of a sudden it's clear, oh, my nails aren't healthy, so they have to have clear coating on them. And now they just kind of do anything, it seems. I don't know.
Yeah, no, a lot has changed in the like 15-ish years that I've been here on and off.
I wonder if K-pop or the just general pop culture has some influence on
I'm
that.
sure it does.
Yeah. Have you seen you're familiar with the BTS
Butternuts?
Butternuts? Oh, is that
Smooth as butter.
Smooth as butter, yeah. Oh, they got
Played
the
800 times in my house a day.
BTS, they're huge, man. They had that big McDonald's promotion, and you sent us the. Oh, is that real?
Yeah.
Dude, they were selling the used McDonald's bags. You know, because it said BTS on it. They were selling it as memorabilia overseas, $35-$40. Well, hold on.
So I missed a really good boat.
Absolutely, yeah. You say there's gonna be people robbing McDonald's for here's all the money, give me the bags. You know, they want. But you sent one too from Australia. Like the first picture you sent, there was one for $35, and it was it looked like it was in good condition. Then you sent one that was being sold in Australia, and it was $5. I'm like, why is this one?
Big Mac stain on the side.
Yeah, it had like
Slightly
special
used.
sauce stains on it. It was slightly tore. You're like, what? People are buying this shit? Can you imagine? Can you imagine your kid? You get a tech bay. Hello, Jimmy. What'd you buy? I got a McDonald's bag. It's just a piece of garbage with shit all over it. How much you pay for this? $40? Oh my god, you'd flip out. But sorry, just to stay on K-pop. I don't want to stay on this too long, but have you seen the new band Eternity?
No, I'm completely out of the K-pop loop.
I am too until this popped up on my. Oh no! I think it was an article on my Google feed. I'll show you the video after. But when you look at them, you're like, oh my god, what's special about them? They're all AI. They look like real people, man. Have you seen that? No. You would never, if I didn't tell you, you would have no idea. And that brings up the case of, would you ever pay for an AI album, or would you want to go see their holograms dance around on a stage? It's wild, but
No, but they look pretty real.
oh man, watch them talk.
I mean,
Watch them talk. It's insane.
but you can do anything now. I mean, we don't even need real people anymore.
We saw
just
Kim Jong Un
do the
sing,
face swap, everything now.
What was the
K-pop is cancer something.
K-pop?
Can be punished apparently.
So, continuing on the style and fashion and colorfulness stuff, what about the body art?
Okay, so that doesn't always go over to great acclaim. I got my first tattoo when I was like 17, and I've been collecting them ever since. And that's probably the biggest sort of barrier to my professional life, employment. But like everything I have can be covered by professional clothes.
Okay.
Like I don't have anything that sticks out of
No teardrops.
Yeah, no teardrops. Nothing. No hands, face, neck, arms stop above the watch, kind of thing. So like I can dress
For the interview.
and then
the big reveal.
And then I I have tried the reveal. Some schools like it. Some schools it's okay with. Some schools it's they ask me to cover up, and I mean it is what it is, and you got to be kind of respectful of local culture and customs, and expectations. Like back home, lots of teachers have tattoos.
Sure.
And even brightly colored hair. Like that's if I was working in public school, I could have that. But overseas, it's not necessarily the case. And tuition based schools, you have to think of really the parents' opinion and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
So how do you manage that?
I really just go do a good job at my job.
So I was gonna say, is it, hey, you gave me the 2-year contract, you can't take it back. Now watch me perform, and you'll sign me again because I'm good enough.
Maybe just getting your foot
Maybe
in
I'm
the
not
door.
quite that cocky, but well, no, the school I'm at right now, my tattoos have been out the whole time, and I cultivate a really good relationship with my students, cultivate a really good relationship with my parents, and if there have been complaints, they haven't come back to me. At my school in China, they immediately you got to cover those up. This is not acceptable. And so I did. I got clothes that I could wear to work.
But like you said earlier too, with talking about your stepmom and showing and revealing your tattoos, I think that just breaks down barriers for kids, and they realize oh, tattoos aren't scary,
But
Or
hold
my
on,
teacher
I
has
don't
one.
I don't think kids think that. Just like the kids don't, racism is a learned behavior. It's not, you're not born a racist.
So that was.
And the same the same with the tattoos. I mean, I think the average person or young kid would say, "Wow, that's so cool. Oh, you got so many colorful things, and wow, that's cool."
Yeah, so I've noticed when I teach the real little ones, like international age, like 3, 4,
Curious.
they're just they're curious, or it doesn't even register.
That's what I mean.
I got marker on my arms too.
You have to be taught that that's not okay or something to think that it's not. The average kid, my daughters would come up and start inspecting them and say, "I want one of those. Can I get Elsa on my arm?" And well, I want earrings like that. And I think it would be a kind of a refreshing. Well, why are all my other teachers so boring?
Yeah,
I think in a kid's perspective, that's what they would kind of see.
But I mean, as they get older and they're influenced by their parents, by
Sure.
their
Movies, media, pop
movies,
culture,
every whatever they're influenced by. I remember I was this was back when I was teaching in Korean public school. I was teaching a class, and one kid we were just chatting, and one kid raised his hand and was like, "Teacher, yeah, do you do you hurt people for money?" Am I a gangster? Yeah. No. then why Munshin? And I'm like,
Well, that was the thing for a long time.
that was the
here,
thing
yeah.
for a really, yeah, definitely.
But even kid, they didn't see them. Their parents, you could tell them, but I mean, 10 years ago, you never saw tattoos.
In the Mogatang, you do. But remember,
They weren't allowed to go in. They had signs, no tattoos. So kids wouldn't see them. That's what I wondered before. Kids wouldn't see them. When they started seeing them, it was usually like their mom with one here or on the ankle, or these little things. Nothing really crazy, but they get all the stick-on tattoos. The makeup tattoos are huge here. So yeah, I don't get where I thought the gangpei stuff. Do they see that in movies? Where do they see that?
They see it in the they were allowed in the saunas. They just, I remember for a while there, they had the $50. I see dudes all the time, and they're just dragon, tiger, up to from their knees to their elbows.
Now
They're all done. What I said 10
not
years
15
ago.
years ago.
I wasn't here 15 years ago, but yeah, within 10 years for sure. You see people.
I used to
going-
go quite regularly sauna. I never saw one person ever. with
and
a
it's
tattoo.
just they have a presence when they're in there and they're all fully tatted. You're like, oh, this is they're there. But no, I think it's good to show, and outside of Korea, I think it's common to have tattoos, and you don't always have to be hurting people for money.
yeah, I teach people for money.
Yeah.
Do you have any plan to the tattoo? I mean, do you try and get them in each country or different cities or famous people or?
I just I follow a lot of tattoo artists on Instagram, and right now I'm actively following Korean tattoo artists because I'm in Korea, and especially pandemic, I'm traveling in Korea if I'm even traveling at all. So I've got some artists who I'd really like some work done by. So I've had 4 tattoos done in Korea now.
That's a really good one on your shoulder.
This is my
awesome.
grandmother.
That's really
It was
good.
her wedding photo.
That's really good.
Yeah. I'm that.
Were you nervous going in to do that? I see the portrait pictures and I'm like,
well, I've wanted this.
look at grandma. Oh, grandma's mouth's open. Yeah.
I've wanted this particular portrait of my grandmother done since she passed away, and she passed away when I was like 20.
Yeah.
And I got it done when I was 40 because I could afford to like. Money was literally no object.
Yeah.
I saved up for it, and I went to a tattoo artist who had mad skills.
Let me see 10 of your previous arms.
Yeah, exactly. And
portraits.
portraits specifically. And this artist does a lot of portraits. His preferred style, he does like a lot of kind of like horror stuff. But he does like a lot of faces and like just really had the skills for that.
Is that a Korean one?
Yeah, it's a Korean one.
I mean, it looks like it's scanned on.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how good it looks like. It was like a photo scanned on there. It's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, so I
Out of all tattoos, I'd be most nervous about doing a portrait.
I was definitely, but like I said, I
Don't
waited.
fuck this up.
Every single one of his portraits that I looked at, like there was no wonky looking ones.
Yeah.
Needs to have a resume.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I wonder. I don't know. How do you build a resume as a tattoo artist?
Free. The first ones are free. You see them online sometimes.
I got a buddy who did them here. He's a Korean guy, but went to Australia and he learned it and he came back here. And I was asking him the same question. He goes, you practice on your 20 closest friends. He goes, and none of them talk to me anymore. He said he ruined so many tattoos on people's legs and arms and stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
What are the current rules or laws in Korea? Like, I think
It's illegal.
it's still illegal.
It's illegal. You have to be a medical doctor.
Yeah.
Because it's a needle.
Yeah.
It falls under medical license stuff. So yeah, it's
But
illegal.
so before it was kind of taboo, but you see the shops now. I mean, they're not everywhere, but there's enough of them, and you can find these guys on Instagram with 50,000 followers. What is it? Just totally just turn a blind eye to it, or
it's a big
it's like,
turn of blind eye.
why don't they just change the laws?
What about in like California? They got all those stupid old laws like you can't eat oranges in the bathtub on Sundays.
What?
Yeah, you know what those are.
Yes,
You've heard those
yes,
before.
sure.
It's probably the same thing.
Yeah.
It's an outdated law that
In some states, you're still allowed to have 5 wives or something, and it's a law from the 1920s or whatever.
Yeah. From time to time, police will crack down on tattoos.
go in and dump out the ink.
Pay the fine. and move on.
and it's a big fine, and sometimes like depending on how well established you are, that fine might put you out of business.
Yeah.
But this sounds like the Board of Education crackdowns. Hey guys, they're coming tomorrow. Make sure everything's in order. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, from what I've seen and read, most of the time those things are kind of, hey, they're coming, make sure everything's, and pay your little fine or whatever. If it's big, sometimes I don't know, but
It's weird though because I follow a bunch of Korean tattoo artists. Means they have like full body tattoos, and you can't get professional sponsorships. So they get sponsorships for like makeup products which covers your tattoos.
Yeah.
Pretty ironic stuff.
Interesting. I'm still waiting.
is Old Mill, does that ring a bell?
No, Fat Buddha.
Fat Buddha's one in Busan. Yeah.
That's the only one I know.
Yeah.
Because everyone, D and Hazel, I think they got tattoos from him
Yeah,
back
no.
in the day.
But there's one that always pops up on here.
Old Mill Tattoo. Yeah, that's right.
Is that Korean?
I don't know. That's cool. I'm glad it's
Dundee,
Yeah.
Scotland. I don't know why it keeps showing up on my thing. But
I the most positive response I get to my tattoos actually is when I go to the fish markets to like go pick out your fish to go eat hui, and I'm walking through the fish markets and it's a lot of like blue collar kind of like fishermen and fishermen's wives selling the fish and all that, and I get a lot of like yeah good, very good yeah Buddha. But if I'm walking just down the street like.
not the same.
Again,
looks,
I don't notice the dirty looks, but Greg's like, that guy just gave you a really dirty look, and I'm like, huh?
Meh.
But I wonder how much different it is than when I go down there, like, holy shit, crazy foreigner. Oh, crazy foreigner. I mean, they already have a stereotypical, right? Oh, wacky foreigner, whatever. Look at the beard. Oh, the crazy guy. I mean, they already think that stuff.
It's changing so much.
Sure, it is for sure. But you get You don't have to have. I'm saying you don't have to have tattoos to get looks.
Absolutely.
You don't have to dress wild to get looks. You get them all the time.
Yeah,
I always feel the Ajumas are more accepting, and they admire that. Means I go running in the fields and stuff, and they admire that. Oh, you came here. Oh, nice. But I always get those looks from like mid-40s people. They are like.
It is changing though, and I think it's amazing how little people realize how much impact they have. Like you think, I'm just trying to make a comfortable space and promote, equality and everything. But it's amazing how many people you actually affect, because you can't measure it. You can't tell. But man, my mother-in-law promotes multiculturalism to the world now, and before she was like on strike for it, and it's just weird. Like she'll say, "Oh, come, I'm eating with my friends. Come and join us." And I think like that was not even in her vocabulary 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like it would have been, ooh, there's another. I hope he doesn't meet my daughter. And now it's like, come and join my Salmonoi drumming practice. And I'm like, what? But all different aspects. I mean, I think from doing We Hope, and from coaching hockey and being at the Muay Thai gym, and we access so many people and give them a different impression when they get to know you.
Yeah.
And I think you just can't measure that. But overall, I think we're all ambassadors and big leaders in change here for sure.
Slowly chipping away at their conservative roots. Tattoos for all. Any plans for the next tattoo? You got?
I've got a couple more. So this arm that's kind of coming together as a sleeve. I've got a couple more kind of planned that I want from some artists who are living in Seoul. I'm a little iffy about going to Seoul right now. Yeah. And as soon as this pandemic is done, I am on a plane to Thailand. I have a piece that I started in Thailand. I started it about 3 months before the pandemic started. I was supposed to get it finished I was supposed to get it finished over my term break. Yeah. Term break was canceled because Corona came. And we haven't been able to finish it. Yeah. So I really want to get that piece finished.
Is it a traditional one or is
No, it's big one on my.
Oh, cool.
It's
wow.
Yeah, it's it's a scene from the Indonesian name is Ramayana. I think the Thai name is Ramakien.
I had Ramayana for dinner last night.
No, it's the story of Ranma and Sita, and this is when the Monkey King Hanuman goes. He's trying to build a bridge, and the mermaids are taking away the stones for the bridge he's trying to build, and then he goes down and meets the mermaid, and they fall in love and have babies and stuff, and so monkey mermaid babies, but there's no monkey mermaid babies on my tattoo, but that's the scene that we decided on.
Nice. I did one in Thailand too, but again we were pressed for time, so I think I did 11 hours. Like I did the outline on one day and then 11 hours filling it in the next day. It was a hell of a go on my back. It wasn't fun, but
yeah, the one I have on my other leg that I got done in China was 12 hours in one day.
Oh,
with 2 5-minute breaks.
Oh yeah, we stopped for dinner and a couple other water breaks, but it was
I wonder if those guys feel the pressure. Like I just remember the full moon parties, and what's it called? How can I forget those places? Koh Tat Rin. Where's the full moon parties?
In Koh Phangan.
And man, have you been there?
Not for a full moon party. I've been
going down to the beach, like the two main roads, the two main alleys down to the beach are just tattoo parlors all the way down and all the way up. Like I just think how many guys I see there at 4 a.m. just bombed, getting tattoos, and they're passed out getting tattoos, and I mean they'll tattoo anything and anybody there. But I wonder if they feel pressure because it's always I'm leaving tomorrow or I'm leaving in a couple days, or they must always have so many of those guys. Or well, how fast can you do it? as fast as you want. I don't know how good it's going to look, but they must have pressure on to be always doing those instead of
remember this night forever.
Instead of a relaxed aircon studio with, come back for 6 visits. I mean,
I did go to a relaxed aircon studio.
That's the
yeah.
But I think so many are impulse decisions there, right? You're having time of your life on the beach partying. And...
You're three Tom Cruise fuck your ass buckets deep, and you're. Do you know what that is? It sounds crazy. If you've been to a full moon party, all that you buy alcohol by the buckets.
Yeah, I know the buckets.
And all the selling stations have different names.
In the selling and they try and get you in with like just the wackiest shit. Like I said, like a Tom Cruise fucking. Whatever the fuck it is. They all have swear words
craziness
in them
but there was
celebrity names.
There was I mean, you meet groups, guy by bow, loser has to get a teddy, and we pick it. Or we were with, I don't know if I was with you that time or a couple other times, but we were with one group where the guy woke up with a tattoo on his ass, and I forget what they got. His buddies paid for it, got him tattooed, carried him home, put him to bed, woke up.
See, that's a great way to like catch hepatitis.
Yeah.
Like in situations like that, that's just that really
scary stuff.
That is really scary because like.
Did you guys draw my face with marker again? What the hell is it? Imagine that you wake up with something on your face.
I think for a lot of the people that had the idea of maybe I want to get one, and like you say, you get 2 buckets deep and you see all the people doing them, and that's the thing, the final straw that okay, I'm gonna do it. That's it. I'm doing it tonight. Cool place, cool tattoo.
I survived the fire rope. I'm invisible tonight.
Yeah.
You seen that one, the fire skipping rope?
Yes.
Oh Jesus.
What do you think of the traditional? What is it? It's a bamboo.
Yeah.
It doesn't go. Like it'll lose.
It's supposed to heal faster or something.
Yeah, but it loses its. Doesn't the ink bleed over time? Like
no, it'll stay in. But the thing about those is they often use the same needle on a lot of different people because
where do I sign up?
The energy from the people imparts to the next person, and it's not just energy that's imparted to the next person.
Give me that Hep C energy.
Yeah, so I had been looking at kind of getting one done, but the temple that we were looking at was, the stories were like that he used the tattoo, the needle,
the
energy. And I just decided against it, and that's how I actually found the tattoo shop, because my brother-in-law was visiting my husband and I, and we went to Thailand, and he wanted my brother-in-law wanted me and him to get tattoos together, and he said like, let's get a yak scent, and I was like, okay, so I looked into it, and I was like, is that the name? That's the name of the yak scent, I think is what it is. And I looked into it, and I was just like, that's not healthy. So we found a tattoo parlor, and we just got tattoos.
Yeah, that's the.
God, I think half of the UK on Gap Year got that tattoo in Thailand. Oh man,
I like going in, seeing the guy not drunk. And then he opens the, I think in the new tattoo shops, they go, this is the needle.
Yeah.
Open it.
And that's the shop that I went to.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
Put the other ones $20 cheaper.
There's a reason. Yeah. So there's a sign I've seen in a lot of tattoo parlors, and it's good tattoos ain't cheap, and cheap tattoos ain't good.
Oh, well, yes, one of those. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's something I'd like to do the right way if it was ever going to happen. You do want to do it the right way.
You do want to do it.
You planning on anything, Nate?
No.
You sure?
No. Dad was going to kick me out of the house, and that was enough to deter me for a lot of years. Still clean.
What was the potential tattoo there?
Oh, I don't.
Armband. BTS.
No, but I mean, we're the same age, so when we went through, it was guys go to the gym and do curls for 3 hours and then leave and nothing else and go get an armband, and the girls, 90% of them had that one on the small of their back or the belly button, and that was, I tell Koreans all the time, like, man, when I was in high school, like 17, 18, and everybody had them.
Yeah.
By the time you graduated, everybody had a tattoo.
Yeah, I was 17 when I got my first tattoo.
Yeah.
And that was it. Either something on the belly button, like a flower, and that was the middle of the flower, or
You ever seen the guy online? He's got the cat's ass. The asshole's right on his belly button.
I think those ones are.
Those are
I think those
hilarious.
are cool. The guy mowing the grass on the back of your head, or the guy lifts up his arm and his armpits like. I think the funniest one was a girl spreading her legs. But I think, like, if I was gonna do it, I think it'd be something that would get some laughs out of people and make somebody smile. Like, oh, that's clever. But
Yeah, imagine that doing a We Hope thing. You got any questions? One from the back. Oh,
so
good times. Good
no,
times.
I say now, like, I think tattoo removal amongst our age group is probably so common because now, you know, you've had 2 or 3 kids and your dolphin or whatever became a beluga whale after 3 pregnancies, and Bobby Biceps doesn't work out anymore. And I just think, man, those
It's like
are
the Bugs Bunny arc barrel.
young and dumb ones. But no, I think they're awesome. I think yours are cool. I like them. I'm a fan of it. Just haven't gotten into it.
Also, you guys have in common the same birth year, and we're all married in the same year as well, right? Happy 10th,
Oh.
happy 10th anniversary. Mine's coming up next week.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah,
11.
10th. Or are you counting
Yeah, this-
Korean years?
No, I was married in 2011,
Yeah,
so this
me
was my
too.
10th
Yeah.
wedding anniversary.
Are you drunk?
What? This is the 10th year. This is your 10th wedding anniversary.
Right?
2011.
Oh, okay, but mine was in January. So
So
it's
was
done.
mine. When?
We just went to City Hall and signed the paper. January 30th.
I'm okay. I get this mixed up all the time. I was married.
Maybe it was February 30th. No, there's
I
no
was,
30th,
I,
it was
I
January.
was married January 15th, 2011. I always say I was married January 11th, 2015, and I'm like, no, that's not right.
Oh, okay. I got
Yeah,
you.
January 11th, 2015.
I tied the knot
No.
the day the Korean War started. Yu-Gi-Oh! The day the war started.
Yeah.
Also Nate's birthday.
Yeah, we were January 30th, and it was a emergency one. I wanted my name on the house, so we already bought rings in Canada when we went home for Christmas, but then it kind of happened a lot faster than I thought, and that was it.
The,
I wanted my name on the
mother-in-law
house.
gave him a lambasting about too much meat in the miyakuk, and then she's like, "Sign the papers or you're out, sir."
No, it was about the house facing south, and I was like, "This is not important. The house facing south is not important." She's like, "This is the best house in the city. You gotta buy it." And that was it. So went and got married the next day. Got my names on the paper, and that was it. Anyways, happy 10th, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does living abroad make your married life more exciting? Or
Our married life has been entirely abroad. We met in Korea.
Yeah,
So I got to Korea in 2006. He got to Korea in 2007. We met in January of 2008. So our whole life, like the 2 times we've tried to move back to North America, we did it together. And just our whole, like, so how does living abroad affect our marriage? I don't know. It is our
Yeah.
marriage.
That's
like
awesome.
it just is.
What about then being married to your husband's American, right?
Yes.
What about being married to an American? I mean, we grow up with a lot of joking and poking fun at the others and each other's countries. What is it like marrying an American? I don't mean marrying one. That's the same as marrying a Canadian. I mean living together. Do you get to poke a lot of fun
we do
at
we,
Trump
we,
and everything else?
We poke fun and
you wear your MAGA hat at breakfast?
I do wear I wear my MAGA hat at breakfast, and no, we are very, like, I mean, obviously, our marriage wouldn't have lasted if we were not, like, pretty politically aligned and morally aligned and that sort of thing. So we poke fun at a lot of the same things, but what I've really noticed is a lot of songs from my childhood that I start rocking out to, he has never heard of, and then I realize they're Canadian content.
What's Nickelback, honey?
Well,
what's
like Nickelback and Bryan Adams and Celine Dion, like, made it in the U.S., but like April
Hip.
Wine,
Okay.
or the Hip, I'll be rocking out to, like, something playing on my phone or whatever, and or a song will pop in my head, and I'll sing him. I was like, do you remember this song? And I'll sing him a line. And he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But the thing is, the other way, I recognize everything he's talking about.
Sure.
Because as Canadians, we are so bombarded with American media. Sure. There's no hits from his childhood that I don't know, but there's lots of hits from my childhood.
You don't know
that
Grace too?
Know.
Get out of my house.
Yeah.
Have you been to a hip concert?
No. I even lived in Kingston, and no.
That's all right. I think, anyways, there's nothing that ties Canadians together more than a hip tune. Yeah. What in your marriage? What was the spark to tie the knot?
I knew really early on in our relationship that something was special, and like it felt different. And like at first, I was like, "Keep your head on straight. This is just infatuation." You know, but it didn't go away.
Yeah.
and we've I like spending time with him and just
that's important.
Yeah, it is. But no, it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't just a like, oh, dates are nice. It was like, I like having you around when I'm tidying the house, and I like, you know, just.
Or I like you tidying the house while I'm.
Yeah, exactly. Or however it worked. And we just like we met on OkCupid.
Is that a dating?
It's a dating website. I don't think it's so big anymore, but it was definitely big in the early aughts.
Cool.
And we met on OkCupid. We chatted for like 2 days. We met face to face in Hongdae, and we've been inseparable ever
That's awesome.
since. Like,
That's awesome.
What was that like?
What was what like?
Chatting for 2 days and meeting. Is there a lot of apprehension? Is there a lot of? I guess Hongdae is a pretty wide open place. It's pretty comfortable to meet someone, but.
Yeah, no, there like I've been online, like meeting friends online and like local chat rooms, and then we all decide to go out for dinner and that kind of thing. So like I wasn't like afraid to meet somebody from online.
How else do you meet people? How do you get out?
How
do you get out
clue.
there if you're, you know what I mean?
Are you being sarcastic or serious?
No, I mean.
I know that's what it's like these days.
Especially these days, but even
everybody's working. Everyone's got these crazy jobs and
think
no
about
time.
if you were a teacher. I mean, I know like Robbie, pink shorts. Robbie hot pink shorts. He his first posting was out in like Samchuk or something. He was out in the middle of nowhere. Like, what do you do? You go to work and come home every day? That's not the experience you're hoping for in Korea. And I think that's why not utilize your technology or whatever to get out there and meet people. Man.
Why? I guess that it was predominantly probably bars, right? Like,
yeah,
in high school and uni, you went to the bars and you'd meet a million people every weekend. Just if you went out Friday, Saturday, or you went for Toonie Tuesday or whatever. I mean, that's where you met all the people. Otherwise, it's house parties or it's just parties, right?
Yeah.
Like, was there other, like in Korea, it's join the camera club, but I don't think anybody in Canada joins a camera club to, you know, try and creep around. And I was part of the salsa group here, and it was like 8 creeper guys and a bunch of independent women who didn't want relationships, who honestly wanted to learn how to dance. But these guys were hands shaking, sweating like crazy. And I was like, guys, come on. And you know, just not typical guys in Korea that probably couldn't find a date. But I think, yeah, like that seems like a totally normal way now, even though I'm retired for a few years now, but
10.
that you would 10 that you would meet people. But I never met anyone online when I was single in Korea.
That's because we had Tombstone right around the
corner. Going out, meeting people on the streets everywhere.
I walked by Tombstone. Do you know Tombstone? That was the original.
Got a paint job, eh?
Dude, the window's still in there. There's still one window that says Tombstone. That was the original bar that the 8 founding fathers of Korea owned at one of Korea. Sorry, of
Ulsan.
of Ulsan. The 8 foreign founding fathers, I guess you can call them. They all bought a bar, and that used to be where every night ended up. But the window's still in there. It's wild. It's been closed for probably 10 years.
Yeah,
at least.
You've been, can we say, fortunate enough to have worked in many countries.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the similarities, differences? Can you contrast and compare Malay or Indonesia, China, Korea. What are some of your favorite memories?
The people in Indonesia are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. They would go out of their way to help you, to befriend you, even without a common language. They wanted to be with you and get to know you and that kind of thing. So I really liked that, living in Indonesia. The China, I found, because my experience in Korea was Seoul before I, like, great Gyeonggi-do in Seoul before I moved to Korea, before I moved to Ulsan. Comparing kind of, I was in like Shanghai in China, and people would say, "Oh, it's gruff, it's busy, everybody's fast and going, and no one talks to you." And I sort of saw that, but also I was used to Seoul, which is also like that. Right. So I didn't find, like, it wasn't like going from home in East Coast Canada to China where no one talks to you. Like, I had been overseas for a long time, so I found people to be friendly. It's just friendly in their own big city kind of different way. What I found really difficult living in China was being illiterate. Like, I couldn't. I never realized the extent to which I used reading to learn words, or words to learn reading. Like, but in China, there was a list of words I could read, and there was a list of words I could say. They were not the same list. And and so, like, I would go to a restaurant, and it would be about, like, I could see on their sign they had beef noodles. I was like, okay, I want beef noodles. How do you say beef? I don't know. I can only say pork. How do you read pork? I don't know. I can only read beef. But I can read noodles. And Chinese is a tonal language, so I'd be like, I'd ask for noodles, but I was probably asking, like, God knows what I was for a date or something. And it was just, I found it really frustrating that, no, I'm not using the right tone, but I'm in your noodle shop and I'm saying something that sounds like noodles. Please use your context clues. Like, why else am I here?
Beef or pork? I don't know. Can you just walk around and act like the animal you want to eat?
Yeah.
Please act it out for me. You're doing a whole game of charades for a thing of noodles.
Yeah. Like, I found the language really difficult. I never made it anywhere in the language in China. I didn't learn to read, and I found that really, really difficult and really, really isolating. My Korean is poor. My listening is pretty good. Like, I got a lot of what's kind of going on, and I can make small talk, and I can, where are you from, and what kind of food do you like, and your standard Korean questions, and how old are you, and what's your job, and if your job is one of 5 jobs, I can even have a follow-up question. If it's not one of those, how much
do you make?
If it's not one of those 5 jobs, well, I don't know what you said. But I'm very functional in Korean, and I can read, like, any sign.
It's a great language to learn how to read.
It's a great language to learn how to read. And same Indonesian. Bahasa Indonesia is actually the name of the language. It uses a Latinate alphabet, like the same alphabet that English uses. It doesn't have all the same it doesn't have an X.
Is it like Vietnamese that has all the
it doesn't. It
accent aigus?
No, it doesn't have all the accent aigus and diacritic marks or something is what they're called.
C5?
Yeah.
What's that one?
CCD.
CCD?
CD.
CCD?
Yeah. I was in French immersion.
That's okay too.
I'm teaching my daughter French now, and she's always asking me, what are all these things? I said, well, this is the chapeau. This is the...
Accent circumflex.
Yeah, circumflex.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but...
don't worry about those, we'll learn them later. Just keep practicing.
That sounds like cornflakes. I had the cornflakes for breakfast.
Yeah, but
was part of it in China that it is so daunting? Like, I just think in Korea there's hope. Like, them alphabets kind of match. If you talk to a few people, say, yeah, no problem, you can do it. Spend 2 or 3 days, you'll be good. But like I was in Shanghai 2 years ago, right before the pandemic, I think. And I just think when I was there, the same thing. I just, and when we were in Russia, I just feel absolutely useless when I can't communicate in my normal means. And I'm a communicator. I mean, I love it, and I gotta communicate. I gotta talk. But man, I think we take for granted how good and friendly it is in Korea, where they try English. A lot of them, it's changed a ton.
Yeah.
But the average person coming in now has no idea when you used to say something before and you had to do sign language and acting out animals to get your meal, because that's what it was like before. Or you could point to the pictures at least. But my thinking of Chinese is that, God, there's a bazillion signs. Like, how it seems impossible. I don't know where to start.
Yeah, no,
Korea's like, look, here it is. Okay, I can do that. That's possible.
Yeah.
It's like a sensory overload, man. You just look
It is very much a sensory overload, and there's much less English, even in Shanghai. There's much less English on the signs. Like, Korea has a lot that they love some good Konglish here in Korea, and you can figure out what's going on at any given place with your limited reading of Korean. Their bizarre English sign, and between the two, you
find a happy medium. Yeah.
You know what's going on, and China, I found really overwhelming that way. That I just
conform or beat it.
Yeah, it was difficult. I did really. The one thing I loved about being in China was the expat community was not just teachers.
Ah, okay.
Like there was, and not just from the 7 English countries.
Yeah.
Like it was, like
you get a good mix.
There was like, I had German friends, like I had Chinese friends obviously, but I had German friends, and I had Swedish friends, and I worked with a guy at my school, and he was Dutch, and it was
okay. But hold on. That's always been available here. Is that us? Is that a result of us and our views, visions, effort, whatever? Because the engineers were from all over the world when I got here. They were from 50 different countries. Yes, there was a barrier, but if you chose to break that down, I broke it down through hockey. I played hockey with Finnish, Norwegians, all kinds of Scandinavians, Russians. I still do, with a bunch of different nationalities. Through working at the universities, I became friends with Kazakhs, Uzbeks, now Indians, and Sri Lankans, and there is that here. But do you mean professionals, like in terms of business people and stuff, like in Haeundae or in Busan, where there's a lot of international business people? Because we have it. It's just in the forms of students come from a lot of countries, engineers come from a lot of countries, teachers come from 7. But if you're willing to get into those circles, you can have a pretty diverse group.
That's true. Well, before the pandemic, and kind of the year I was here before the pandemic, I was trying to start a Stitch and Bitch, a knitting group, and I was
Great name.
Yeah.
Oh man, I saw that. I was like, "What?" Like it hit me I was just scrolling through. I'm like, "Whoa, what is that? Stitch It, bitch!" Oh, that was
because I used to run the Soul Stitch. I inherited it, but I ran the Soul Stitch and Bitch for the 5 years I lived in Seoul, and it was a huge community, and like we had lots of different people who would come, and so I wanted kind of that community again here in Ulsan, because I looked, I was like, does it exist? No, I'll make it. And I was trying to get it up and going, and I wanted to invite people, and I was doing it like in the downtowns, and like so that like I'm not making everybody come to Donggu, and it was kind of starting to get going.
Had some legs.
But then the pandemic happened, and now we have the limit on how many people can gather, and
you can gather, but just at different tables.
Stitch and Solo Bitch.
Yeah.
Stitch and Bitch alone. Stitch and Bitch.
Yeah. So it's like what do you do? Have your like, this is our elite group of 4 who can join us. Like, so I like, that's definitely something that I am really waiting for, that restriction to be lifted, the vaccines, however, whatever it it takes that a gathering can happen again that I really want to start promoting.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be a big
group.
swing the other way. People are excited to get into something like that, man.
And I think through that you'll realize that here there also is. That's why I wonder. Like sometimes I think, I'd like to be in Busan, where you could actually go out and meet people from 20 different industries that are just expats living in Busan.
The market used to be a good thing for that. Eh?
Yeah.
The foreigners market here.
Yeah, I sold it I sold it like the last 2 foreigners markets.
Oh, yeah?
Before it completely shut
What
down.
happened? Kay, get your shit together.
But no, that's what I've been lucky enough here, I think, to be parts of a few different social circles. And I said hockey was. But imagine those guys were engineers there, for some of them for 3, 4, 5 years, and didn't know that across the street there was a hockey rink where they can play. And I was like, how don't people there know this? It's Hyundai. So then once I made inroads there, and now I can put up a regular poster or advertisement or whatever on their community boards. And then if someone plays hockey, they know and they come and find me. But yeah, that was a whole different, and Sean was at Skyrex, and he was a manager of one of the, or an upper management guy of one of the companies here. And yeah, we saw a whole different part of living in Ulsan or Korea from that.
One of the even crazier things than Sean was his wife. The group of friends she had. She was playing mahjong. Is that the card game? She'd play with these friends that day and meet another group of friends from a different country and do something.
Ongi pottery this day.
Yeah.
That was the engineers' wives were a real good network. They came from everywhere. They didn't have work, so they all sourced out each other to have different things to do in communities. So
Yeah.
it's out there. I find like you online often you think, it's just teachers. But yeah, I mean,
I guess it's more of a lifestyle thing, right? Because all the teachers have similar schedules, so they have similar free times, and I guess that's how they get together. Engineers have their
And it's, I mean,
engineers have 20 times the income and don't want to hang out with poor teachers.
Yeah.
But I think
It's
that
also
was
an age thing too. Like
Sure.
a lot like
Yeah.
a lot of the teachers are in their early 20s, and
But it's almost like the teachers are too cool for the international students, and the engineers are too cool for the teachers, and these guys are too cool for the factory workers. But yeah, if you penetrate any of those groups and cross the borders, I mean, it's really interesting people. And like I say, some of my good buddies now are ex-students that I had in UNIS that are now older and making livings here in Korea. And yeah, I agree though. It is kind of age. 99% of the engineers are men. So there's a lot of these kind of things. So.
yeah.
but along the lines of Stitch and Bitch, you're into other artistic pursuits.
Yeah.
I guess you're
Yeah.
into. So you're doing some coloring. You're doing the stitching. What do you enjoy doing there? And what's the not purpose, but why do you enjoy it so much?
I've always been a creative person. I've always done crafts. Like that was something my mom tried to do with me when I was a kid, and always putting me in kind of art club and craft club, and it's just something I really enjoy creating and making, and I'm really into coloring right now. The summer is coming and knitting is less appealing with the wool and the heat.
Yeah.
So that's that, and all my projects have reached a point that like I need to sit down and do some math to like get to the next stage, and I'm in the last 2 weeks of my semester and my brain is not doing any math.
Yeah.
I'm solely trying to get through these last report cards and last 2 weeks of the semester. Then my brain will open back up again. I'll probably get back onto the knitting, but I'm doing the coloring right now, and it's really relaxing, and it doesn't require my brain. It's all kind of just like feeling like I'm just kind of looking at whatever I'm coloring at the time, and it's like
You're in cruise control.
that kind of feels like it needs some green. Yeah. Put some green on there. Okay. What does it? It's all just like feeling and vibes, and not thinking and calculations and math, and knitting has a lot of like vibes to it, and you like get into it. It's really zen when you're kind of like going at part of your pattern. But like the sweater I'm making a sweater for my husband. Because it's custom measured to him, I can't just exactly follow a pattern.
Oh, okay.
So like we're getting up to the shoulder part, and so like I have to like measure his shoulders, measure him, and like get the right stitches so that it fits.
Otherwise, he'll be bitching.
So that exactly, so that it fits him.
He throws it in the dryer first day he gets it. Just strangle.
He knows better.
Yeah.
No, he's very appreciative of the knits he gets. When we got engaged, I got my diamond ring, and he got a handmade sweater, and he still wears it.
Sweet. That's awesome. My grandma used to knit us, what do you call it, slippers for around the house. And there's something special about, it wasn't just bought at a store. You put some effort into it, right?
Yeah.
Not so easy to throw away. You are from the East Coast.
I am.
What kind of roots or what East Coast traits or things do you still carry with you now after being abroad for so long?
I can make garlic fingers and donair sauce myself, so I bring food with me. I have even made donairs by myself.
What are garlic fingers?
Garlic fingers are glorious. So it's
East Coast is a unique part of the country, and lots of the rest of Canada is not aware of what goes on in the East Coast.
So garlic fingers, it's pizza dough with garlic sauce, like garlic butter on it, and cheese.
These are called Little Caesars breadsticks. No,
but it's on the pizza. They're not like it's a big plate of pizza.
Okay.
And there's a special sauce that we eat with it.
Well, it's a pizza. It's a circular bread.
Circle of bread, and it's cut into like fingers.
Okay.
And you dip it in donair sauce, which is a sweet, sweet garlic sauce. And it's definitely a late night post party deliciousness that you
regret.
It tastes like regret. But East Coast, what I bring with me, I guess, is my accent. A lot of people hear it.
I don't hear it at all.
Yeah,
No, I don't hear it. My husband hears it. I don't hear it. But I guess I have really hard R's.
I haven't heard an ounce of it yet.
Yeah, no, I don't hear it, but other people tell me they hear it.
Traveling to the States, someone said that we're very nasal. Someone said like, oh, you guys are so oh, you're from Canada. It's like, I never heard it before. But
yeah.
Anyways.
This is my Canadian. I've taught generations of Korean children to call them pencil crayons.
What do you mean? What are they called?
Color pencils.
Oh, geez.
Pencil crayon is Canadian.
Blasphemy.
Pencil crayon is Canadian.
Really?
No one else in the world calls them pencil crayons but us.
I think I tried that with Chesterfield, but it hasn't gone over so well.
Yeah, I've been trying Chesterfield, serviettes.
I don't know what else you call these things.
Yeah.
Man. There's a couple other good ones.
Sofas, napkins.
Thongs. Like for your feet.
I call them flip flops.
Thongs, no.
Used to be, yeah, but
Australians call them thongs.
Oh, is it
you
the Australian?
start mixing them up with the underwear and it gets confusing.
Yeah.
This plastic shoe between my ass cheeks is not working.
What?
How do I get my legs?
What are some of the things that you would maybe miss most about home? Besides garlic fingers.
Besides garlic fingers and donairs? Oh, geez. Friends, but a lot of my friends have moved to Toronto. Because that's what you do when you're from the East Coast. You move to Toronto.
Is that the promised land? Do you know?
Apparently. But I miss community. I miss, like, I've got a big family, lots of aunts and cousins and that kind of thing, and going to the cottage.
Yeah.
Definitely miss going to the cottage and like doing a sing-song and like a fire pit and that kind of, and from time to time I do miss the 6 feet of snow.
You don't shovel, do you?
God, I remember a couple of the big snowstorms out there.
Yeah. We got married in Moncton on January 15th, It was the one weekend all January it didn't snow. My in-laws they're from Ohio, had never seen snow like that. My husband had to circle. He came. We weren't on the same flight because I had more vacation time than he did, so I came home. He had to circle because of the snowstorm.
Wild, eh?
Couldn't fly in, and he's driving in, and the snow was over the parking meters, and he just looked around and went, "What
Free
have
parking.
I gotten myself
Free
into?"
parking.
Yeah. It's when you're young and you don't have to shovel, it's always fun. But as you get more into adulthood, and
I'm from Thunder Bay. We grow up. It's cold and there's snow, but when we moved to Winterpeg, holy shit, man, that's a different level. And that was '96, and that was the flood of the century. And I was away playing hockey, so I came back from down south in Ontario, end of the season, maybe like April. No, couldn't have been May. Must have been April, maybe around April. So it was that's when all the snow was melting and shit started hitting the fan. And my first month of school was spent sandbagging, and I was like, this is the best high school ever, man. We don't have to go. We'd go sit on the back of semi-trailers, driving down the roads, throwing off sandbags, and I was like, this is a lot different than the high schools in Southern Ontario, man. This is redneck. This is good. But yeah, Winnipeg winters are pretty harsh.
Yeah.
What else? Anything else?
do you harbor any really hateful feelings towards Thunder Bay for killing Terry Fox?
No.
No, nobody does. Look at the future. Where else would you consider, or is there any desired destination that, I mean, once you're in the international circuit, kind of
Is back home an option?
presumably you can go
Canada
go
or
anywhere.
the States?
The States is not an option. No, just like healthcare alone, like unless they get that sorted out,
Absolutely.
Big deterrent.
big deterrent. I really do want to stay in Korea for like a good period of time. My husband and I have been talking, looking forward in the future to retirement, or possibly even retiring a little earlier than retirement, and Thailand or Vietnam for like that kind of golden years sort of set, because especially Thailand, they do have a good healthcare system.
One of the best
One
in the
of the
world.
best in the world, yeah.
Absolutely.
Affordable cost of living, like beaches. Just I visit Thailand a lot, and I like being in Bangkok. I like being out on the beaches. I like Thailand a lot. So I think,
agree.
it's a great kind of place. I think I'd like to do some of my retirement there. If I were to retire back to Canada, I think it would be Halifax, not back to Moncton.
Wow, what a choice! Halifax or Bangkok?
Yeah. So
beaches,
Bangkok is definitely more like the actual plan. But if it was back to Canada, it would probably be Halifax. But just for the time being, like I think we're really looking at kind of staying in Korea. Japan is on my radar. My little brother lives in Japan. We're really close. I haven't seen him since 2015, but we talk like all the time. And I miss him a lot. And he's kind of, I'm not sure exactly his long-term plans, but he is pretty in Japan. He speaks fluent Japanese, like N1 level or what like whatever the test is to speak like a native speaker, he's passed it.
Oh wow. How long has he been there?
He got there when I went 2016.
Oh,
he
wow.
went to Japan, but he learned Japanese in university.
Okay.
And then went to Japan and
Used it.
Good
for him.
Yeah, so I'm really, really proud of him for that. And so Japan is kind of on my radar because I have like family there, but like Korea is really
It's a happy medium. Man.
it's a happy medium. It's where I first experienced independence as an adult, really. Like coming I had lived out of my parents' house since I was like 18, but it had been university, and then I spent a few years in Calgary, and then came to Korea, and that's I had money, I had friends, I had like that's where I grew as an adult. I met my husband.
Real adulting.
And so Korea really has a sense of home to me.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think, yeah, but I'm the same way too. Coming over here at 22, just grew up so fast. You're like, whoa, this is what it takes to survive kind of by yourself. And there's no safety net there for, you got a long flight to get back home. So
You say retiring in Thailand potentially. I'm attracted to some of these places just because of how much further your money goes.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
you if you decided on that and actually it happened, you could probably retire 10 years earlier just based on how much further your money goes, which is pretty attractive. I mean,
that thought has crossed my mind.
That's only a couple years away, man. The thing you have to forfeit is maybe the friends and stuff that you've built along the way. But I think for me, I mean, and I will be with my wife, so that's a difference. She's pretty rooted here. I am, but I'm not. I've been all over the world as well, and I feel I can make it anywhere. But if it's a difference of retiring 10 years earlier, I'm all for it, and I'll make friends wherever the hell that is.
Yeah.
I can sort it out. I can figure it out. Is that kind of the mentality that, if I went back to Thunder Bay, my buddies aren't there anyways. If I stay in Korea, well, God, some of my buddies are going to be dinosaurs soon, and other guys are moving on. Some move home, so I don't have a place that's home. I don't know where my friends are. They're all over the world. So for me, moving to Thailand or one of these countries, I'm familiar there. I've been there. I enjoy there. I don't think it would be that much of a challenge, especially when you meet the minimum things of, decent food, social life, healthcare. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, that's very, very similar to kind of my thought process on the subject. It's like I said, Korea feels like home, but like I can make anywhere feel like home. I've been places that don't feel like home, and I don't stay. Like right. you meet those people in wherever you are, and they're like, I hate it here and it's so awful. Well, go.
Yeah.
and I have been places that I hated it there and it was so awful, and so I finished out my contract and hit the road and that's okay. Yeah. And in Korea I do have friends. I'm making a community, but those people are not necessarily
transient too, right?
Yeah, they're transient as well. So like my friends are all over the world. My best friend, I met her in Seoul, Stitch and Bitch. She now lives in upstate New York. We talk all the time, but I'm not moving to upstate New York just to be with one of my best friends. Like my other best friend is Korean American. Her husband's Korean. They live in Morocco. So like.
But the good thing is now too, if you have a good community of friends that you can meet, you can use the internet and chat and video chat or Zoom or whatever you do these days.
The other thing I think of then is come for a visit, guys.
That's another thing.
Anytime.
Open a small hotel.
And you think you want to, and you can have your mango shake. We talked about it for 20 years. Mango shake stand if you want. Employ a few locals. Get a little bit of pocket money coming in.
You could move there now. I don't think it costs $50 a day to live. You could teach 2 hours on
VIP kids,
on VIP kids, and sustain your life. Right? There's no shortage of.
The problem right now is what do I do with my kids?
And that's old enough.
That's the thing. I mean, no strings you're free, right? You can do anything. So it seems probably a lot easier. We're kind of restricted to a time frame of kicking the kids out at a certain point and then being able to do that stuff. So
yeah.
But definitely, I look at people like my parents were in Florida for a lot of years and said, listen, even with the exchange rate being so lopsided, it was still cheaper because the cost of living was so cheap.
Yeah.
So I mean, the seasonal depressional stuff in Canada, if you're there buried as an old timer in the winter and you can't go out a lot, I mean, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. Where you could be in Florida enjoying the heat, golfing.
That's my dad.
I was going to say surfing, but not surfing. Golfing, riding your bike.
With your new hip, surfing.
Kayaking, whatever, right? It's if you look at the difference, okay, curl until you're 60 and then your knees give out. No more curling. That's a big social one for old timers. And then what? I mean, 5 feet of snow. What are you going to do?
I imagine curling. I got you. Who's 6-year-old guys curling? I got you.
Guys don't curl so much, but
Oh, Nate. Anyways, anything else?
No, I'm
Anything else we got
good.
here? Anything we didn't ask that you want to chat about?
Not that I can think of. No,
You good?
yeah, I'm good.
Listen, thanks for coming in all the way from Donggu there. Much appreciated. Sorry we couldn't come out and meet you halfway there. I feel bad, honestly. That's quite a hike to make you come out.
Yeah, I sprung for the taxi because I am not a morning person. Like I got up with enough time to get on the bus,
Yeah.
and it was like time to like start to get dressed to go on the bus, and I was like, I need like 3 more cups of coffee.
Yeah.
So I just had more coffee, sprung for the taxi, but I'm gonna hop on the bus and go to Samsan and go to Up Square and pick up some more markers for my coloring and
Beautiful.
do a little shopping
You
around
get
there.
Upsquare?
Bookstore in the basement. Yeah. Kyobo.
Kyobo in the bookstore.
Yeah.
There's
Probably the best place. Yeah.
well,
Everything.
Guam
Yeah.
has, but there's specifically a set of markers that I want. The fine line,
Okay.
the Statler fine lines, because some of my pictures in my coloring book have like really tiny kind of spaces. So there's a set that I want down in Kyobo, and then one of my markers is running out of ink. I've used that color a lot apparently, so I'm gonna head up Guam and see if I can replace that one marker.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Keep it up, man. I love the artistic pursuits. I find deep satisfaction in making or coloring or
Me
doing
too.
something. Just kind of turn your brain off and kind of autopilot. I love it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, thank you very much for coming in. It's been real. Let's do it again at some point. Thank you and goodbye. Please don't forget to check out our sponsor, Dr. English. It's your one-stop shop for all your English conversational needs. Enjoy learning from the comfort of your own home. Today, you can call 010-4591-1496 for a free sample class. Take your English to the next level by visiting their website right now at www.dr-english.com. What are you waiting for? Dr. English.